No, not really. I tell you the truth, I don't think many people talk about it.
I don't think about death. I sort of always said, if anything happens to me, I'd rather go in my sleep than rather than not.
I have, yes. With my family, I have. We've had quite a few close members of the family pass away. So it does start to ring home that this will come to everyone at some point.
I talk about death and dying a lot. My job role is a district nurse. We lost one of Mummy's friends, didn't we, last year? She was in her 30s and she died of brain tumour, and it opened up the conversation. I mean, I was asking my husband literally in the last few days, you know, what his thoughts were, and I've noticed that he wasn't necessarily feeling that comfortable with having the whole conversation as well. So this week was kind of like, right, we're going to make it our mission to be more open and to have this start having these conversations.
I think having that plan and making people aware of what your choices are makes it a lot easier for those that are important to you and that are trying to do the best for you. If you've communicated what you want, actually you're giving them a helping hand as well.
There's pain with grief, but then there's this layer of suffering that, you know, perhaps could be reduced for people.
It's quite hard, like it's a hard situation to like talk, and things have happened like obviously in the past.
Once or twice, yes. In a way, and prepare myself when I kick the bucket.
I have, yeah. I've told them what I want for my funeral. I just want a box with flowers on, stick me in the ground, I'll be happy.
I think Mum, I talked to Mum about this, but I think I talked to Caroline about this when Caroline comes to sister.
Oh, right, your sister?
Yeah.
I tell you the truth, I don't think many people talk about it. I think it's a black spot. I don't think no one wants. I like insurance, life insurance. I think you get what I'm trying to say. You see that advert come on, you want to switch the channel, don't you? It's right here. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I don't think people really want to face what is the uninevitable.
Well, I haven't really spoken to him about it because it's had the sort of subject I want to bring up, businesses, but just lost my mum, like, you know what I mean? The first, when I get took ill, if I do, obviously the subject has to be brought up, like, you know what I mean?
This week was kind of like, right, we're going to make it our mission to be more open and to have this start having these conversations.
We can have those conversations in our family, so we can have the, you know, how will we remember you? What will we do to remember you? What things? Even like Mum gave me a ring that she wanted me to have, so that I always had her with me, no matter, you know, what had happened.
That we felt that we really needed to prepare for it, having seen some rather unfortunate situations with friends of ours.
We've experienced people who've passed away, both planned and sort of a long-term process, but also people who've died very suddenly and sort of out of the blue, sort of shocking deaths. And so as you kind of talk about that, don't you, in terms of, you know, trying to support each other in the aftermath of that and so on. So yeah, so we've had conversations about that, but probably not individually as about our own deaths, sort of thing.
I have, in brief, to my children, 4 children, but only in brief because you usually get shut down because I don't want to talk about that.
You know, you can prepare for a mountain climb, you can prepare for a marathon, you can never prepare. I lost a friend, a very, very close friend, completely out of the blue. And I lost a friend who I talked to about dying and about, we knew she'd got terminal cancer. I lost them within a week of each other. Both as raw. One I'd had the conversations with, one I hadn't. I don't think, yeah, loss is loss.
I don't think it will for my children, but for myself, yes. I've had a lot of conversation with my girls.
I can only say this depends on the person, really.
Well, yeah, I think it makes it easy if I go, and you sort of think about the kids, don't you? You know what I mean?
And decluttering your property, because so many like older people, they've got these 3-bedroomed houses and they're all full of everything, and then the family have to go through all the stuff, and then you feel that you're not being respectful of what they've got that they liked because you're having to get rid of it sort of thing. So I think decluttering would be a good thing.
Nothing. I'd probably want a musical funeral, but then I need to write that down.
I haven't made any plans as such, apart from just having conversations. But if I were to die unexpectedly, I think my wife would instinctively know what was right for me and what isn't, given my personal interests.
Not in the kind of who would pick up the kids and all that level of logistics, but yes, there is a plan.
They would know that I would like to be taken and scattered in St Ives in Cornwall.
My children know exactly how I would like to be buried, who I would like to speak at my funeral.
Also, I've got a really great idea about having a funeral before I die, because I really think if it's going to be all the friends and family that I've got, I'd quite like to be there as well.
You know, it's how you die. It stays in the memories of others, it does. And I want it to be celebrated as well. And I think that reflects in the music I've chosen, the place I'd like to have my funeral, where I'd like to be buried. It's all reflected in that. And the kids know about it. And we do talk about it openly here and there.
I haven't really thought that far ahead. But the way I see it, it's not really about me, it's more about the people that are still there.
Yes, I would like to be so people can come to see me and put flowers on.
Because of my job role, I think it's really important that people know. I come across too many people that have relatives that just don't have a clue what they want, and they don't know what's out there either. They don't know their options.
Now just ask my family, yeah. The nearest time when they can take me to when I was born, where I was born, yeah. Take me there once, so with my eyes I can see that place.
My goal by the end of this week is to have some kind of plan in place, which is amazing.
Yeah, I am afraid of death, and I think I fear dying before my kids and leaving them in in trouble sort of thing.
Yes, not as much as I used to be.
What scares me is that uncertainty, I suppose, of what's afterwards.
I think the process of death is a lot scarier than the death itself.
I don't think I'm afraid of death itself, but I am afraid that it would happen too soon.
I'm fearful how my family will feel about it, but I'm not afraid of dying because it's something that happens to everyone.
I'm not afraid of death. I'm looking forward to seeing people on the other side, because that's what I believe in.
What is there to be frightened of? I've worked in a hospice for 15 years, been a nurse for 25 years. I haven't got a strong faith, so I don't know what happens to me afterwards, but there's nothing about the process of dying that would frighten me.
I've nursed and watched a lot of people die, so I think the older you get, the less the fear is.
It's inevitable, it's just part of life.
You don't know when it's going to happen, so you don't know when to plan.
I'm not afraid of death. I'm looking forward to seeing people on the other side, because that's what I believe in. And I've got loads of friends and I've got relatives over there, so I'm be happy to go and join them and say hi.
Yes, and how it's going to happen. Being in pain.
What happens when you die?
No, because I am a big believe in God.
No, because I believe in there's something after. I don't go to church and pray and everything like that, but I do believe in something. And what I believe in, I ain't got a clue. But I do believe that there is something more than this.
I'm not afraid of dying. I'll be more afraid of what I'm leaving behind.
We know where we're going to end up, and It's peaceful. I've watched quite a few people go through it. It's not scary. It brings families together. And at the end of your life, to have people together around you, when you've talked about it well and you know what you want, there is nothing wrong with that whatsoever, and it's not scary at all.
The event this week is fantastic. Somehow we need to get out to the general public.
Advertisements, probably. A campaign, yeah.
Prompting people, I think, at certain points in their life. I think the NHS should, perhaps when people turn 50 or when people turn 35, I don't know, send people out information, invite people in for a conversation or something.
If we make it as part of our community, a part of living in community, part of neighbouring in community, I think that over time we stand a chance of moving it forward.
I'd say primary school, because you never know when you're going to expect it.
As soon as possible, so things can start to basically get the ball. I'm going to use a figure of speech to get the ball rolling. At least then you can get things in place for like funerals, for the planning for like the funerals and stuff like that.
I can understand there are waiting lists for counselling, but I lost my partner last August, and yesterday I had my first meeting with a lady from Cruise on the Corbett Hospital site in Stourbridge, and she was saying about how long the waiting list is for bereavement counselling, and I think there should be more of it, and I think the sooner it happens the better. I think I'd have benefited a lot more.
We should continually have those conversations, shouldn't we? Why is it this taboo in the room that we don't talk about it? So we probably should kind of continually have those discussions around what we're doing in life. What do we want to do in life? What do we want to do in death? On one of the boards that you've used to ask people about what they want to do before death, somebody wrote on there, without prompted, their wishes for after death, i.e. they wanted their ashes to be scattered in a bluebell wood, which is a sentiment incredibly close to my heart, actually. I thought that was beautiful. But actually, we're not asking them that. That was a quite interesting take on it, actually, that yes, before death, but she had a view of what she wanted as well, kind of after death, which is that funeral plan, isn't it, I suppose?
Absolutely.
Really, it's something that should be discussed from when you're capable of understanding what death is, really. So yeah, I think it should be something that everyone discusses.
I guess you should be able to try and talk about it at any time, at any age with people, but I guess you've got to do it in a way that is safe and it's not frightening. So I'm just thinking of like when talking to children, you don't want to talk to children about death and dying in a way that really frightens and scares them. So I don't know, if I was having to do that with some of my nieces and nephews, I'd probably need a bit of help with that, in terms of how do we talk about this in a way that isn't scary for them,
I think really we have to go back to, like we do with all education, back to school.
Brought up in school, I think. Yeah.
For young children, like from primary all the way up to sixth form.
Visit like that in college, they encourage people, because I've heard people outside talk about it.
It's really important that we give children the methods to cope with that, and it is okay to be upset and angry and cross with everyone and to cry and to laugh and all those emotions.
Events like this are useful.
Actually, I didn't really have any expectations of today, but I wasn't quite sure how it was going to feel as an event. But actually, I think it's been really lovely, really fun, really informal.
We're actually reaching out to more people. So rather than just speaking to those that are already visiting our settings and they know about our services and about palliative and end-of-life care, we're speaking to people that actually haven't thought about it.
There just needs to be more awareness, perhaps in GP waiting rooms. If you go into a GP's waiting room, you don't necessarily see posters about have you thought about death or have you spoken to anyone about death.
Post-death, I think people need to have a lot more counselling and opportunity, because the things that it brings on, the anxiety and anxiety is a dreadful thing.
They should make them feel more comfortable with themselves when the time comes.
It's hard because if people don't want to talk, they won't talk.
I think everyone's got to be bold about it, because there's definitely an obstacle there where people, and I speak from first-hand experience with this, people don't want to talk about the subject.
That's like a mad question. That's like saying, you know, how do we encourage people to pick the right lottery numbers? You can't. You're talking about a subject that people don't want to talk about, death.
We speak about death being a taboo subject and people don't want to talk. My experience of this week alone actually tells me that people do want to talk. On the whole, everybody is ready to embrace those conversations. So I think it's a change in the culture as well, and in society, that, you know, we've made it that it's taboo, but I don't think it actually is.
If you scratch the surface and start talking about it, people are really interested. It's seen as a taboo, but really, we're not afraid of it.